Hey everybody, Riot Mort here, and it's Monday, which means it's time for the Monday morning meta report. This is a week 2 meta report, which means there isn't a lot changed. You guys already saw the patch rundown that went up yesterday, so you know what we're doing about it. So I'll try to keep this quick. There's not a ton to go into here. The usual disclaimers, you've seen these enough. Pause if you really want to read them. All right, on the champs and trades sides, not a lot has changed. It's pretty much the same notes as last week. It's still a very 4-cost skewed meta. 5 costs are now the way to cap out these comps, right? We see like the Yunara comp cap out with Set and Senna and Kindred. We see a lot of other comps cop out with 5 costs. But overall, it's still the case. We are still seeing more 3-star 4 costs than we'd like, but it is less than the previous patch, right? Like the EMEA cups had a lot of them for whatever reason. Meanwhile, the Americas one did not. But overall, still seeing more than we'd like. There are some non-forceable options doing well: Bilgewater, Shadow Isles, Ishtal, stuff like that. Some of the lines, though, just really aren't worth the risk. 3 costs are still the missing part of the meta and generally not worth investing in. And basically what I would say overall is that the gap between the default lines that you can play from every game, stuff like Slayer and Warwick, and then the riskier lines just isn't really worth the payoff of those riskier lines, which is leading to some staleness as people sort of play these very predictable lines every game. So that's generally what we've seen this patch. Something else I wanted to talk about very briefly, and I'll go into more depth in this in the future, but kind of wanted to talk about the unlock system a little bit. As the set matures and everyone is really starting to understand the unlock system and lore and legends of the set, and in general, we're seeing some of the pros and the cons so far of this set. On the great side is, having 100 champs has led to more game-to-game variety, period. Even in a when this set has had stale metas, just the fact that there are a bunch of other options, even at the B tier, means that from the right spots you can contest. It feels like there's more variety, and that's been a great positive. The other thing is that some of the approaches we took with traits and flexible threat-like champions have had really positive effects on late-game skill expression. Being able to play things like Fiddlesticks and Shyvana and make those work from various spots has been really good. So those have been pretty positive. But I will also say the restrictive unlocks have caused a lot of rigidity around adjusting on the fly. This is things like, Rift Herald, where you basically need Void on 2-1, otherwise you're not going to get Rift Herald. Or Shadow Isles, same thing. Bilgewater, Demacia even, where it's like you have to go really deep into Demacia to get Galio, and if you've gone that far, that kind of dictates your comp, and you're not really changing a whole lot beyond that. And so that's required some pretty significant investment. Now, we are talking about making some bigger swings here, as we do believe those restrictive unlocks have caused some challenges. But I do want to say that right now, one of the things we're really discussing is that if we go down this road and make some bigger changes like this, this is happening pretty late in the set and can change and disrupt a lot of things. And we've always said where if we got the meta to a pretty good balance spot, we wouldn't necessarily change things. But that being said, we do see room for some pretty big improvements here that could really open up the late game skill expression and get people to play in more interesting ways. So we're keeping an eye on that. When I say keeping an eye on that, I would say more like we're considering it. But again, we have to weigh the pros of the change versus the cons of making the change late, possibly disrupting the competitive season. So stay tuned for what we decide. If you have thoughts, let me know. Would love to hear from players, kind of what you're thinking here. But that's kind of a very fast version of how we've seen the unlock system land so far. Obviously, there'll be more in the future, I'm sure, in like the dev learning article and stuff like that. But very light version for now. All right, the usuals. Portable Forge. It's still below 4.4 at all stages. It's getting really close at 2.1, though. 2.1, it's like 4.43 right now. But otherwise, nothing new to report. Still good on 2.1, worse on 4.2. We've kept our word on this one. Overperforming augments. If you copy and paste and compare this to last week's report, what you'll see is basically the same list of augments, just a couple of the orders have changed. So I'm not going to go too deep on this. We talked about the Zahen Prismatic being too good. We've talked about Bandle Bounty Plus being too good at high elo, Golden Egg, solo leveling, stuff like that. On the low elo side, Jarvan Shyvana duo, that's good on both. Silco's Revenge, again, lower elo, really liking the verticals. So we see stuff like Noxian Invasion doing well, Early Learning actually doing pretty well there also. So overall, this is about what you'd expect. Again, very similar to last week's report. On the underperforming side, again, literally the same story. It's all the same augments, just listed in a different order. World Runes definitely below the mark, getting a big buff next patch. Hefty rolls, Golemify, Dumbify, Secrets of the Sand. And again, you saw the patch rundown yesterday. We're trying to really buff a lot of these so that more of them are playable, things like that. Anything in orange, as always, again, Ishtal Expeditionist, we have no plans to buff. Win Out, Recombobulator, no plans to buff as well. So there you go. And then known bugs. Again, a lot of these you saw are either getting fixed in the next patch or have been, issues. So we'll keep doing them. Like the Mel Orbs one, that one's getting fixed. But otherwise, these have been some of the same ones. And again, it has been difficult, admittedly, to get these sort of prioritized. I'm sure there's a bunch I haven't listed. I've been kind of in future land, so I probably need to update this list at some point. But this is the list I've got to work with. So there you go. And that's it. That's the morning meta report. Again, relatively short. I'm actually recording this right now, watching the Americas game. All 8 players are in check. So I want to get back to that and see what's going on. But yeah, like I said, that's kind of it. We'll see the patch when it comes out, and we'll see what happens. So, cool. All right, that's going to do it for me. Until next time, take it easy.